I feel like in America, rich people can marry whoever the fork that they want. In Korea, things are not the same. There's like maybe 20 families that run the most powerful, influential companies in all of South Korea, and all their kids are known as chaebols. And they basically have to marry each other. And at the top of this food chain is Samsung. So imagine the shock when Samsung's eldest daughter, the presumed heir to many of the family businesses, she is arguably known by K-netizens as the smartest of his 4 kids. She announces she's gonna be marrying her bodyguard.
No way.
Her bodyguard. His family is poor. His highest level of education is high school. He has no experience in business. Nothing. First, everyone's thinking, okay, maybe it's love. But then this man has the audacity to cheat on his wife non-freaking stop, beat her while she's pregnant, and then sue her for $1 billion. Everybody felt pity for her because they thought she's getting screwed over by this loser husband. But then, later after their divorce, people are wondering, what if she's playing chess and we're all playing tic-tac-toe?
What?
Oh, it gets crazy. The Lee family are the most famous Lees in South Korea, the Samsung Lee family. It's like a dynasty. You've got generation 1. I'm gonna call him Grandpa Samsung. This is the founder. Old guy starts Samsung and then he passes it on to his son. Let's call him Daddy Samsung. Technically, he's a Nepo baby, but he was actually known as being really brilliant by a lot of Koreans. Then he had 4 kids. These are like straight Nepo babies. 1 eldest son and then 3 daughters. And let the succession games begin. Today's topic of discussion is not going to be the eldest son who went to jail for corruption, but the second eldest, and it's the oldest daughter.
And the son is the current CEO of Samsung.
Yeah. Because grandpa passed, daddy passed, and now the son is CEO.
Okay.
Lee Poo-jin, but we're just gonna call her BJ. BJ was actually speculated to be Daddy Lee's favorite child. He always took her to major events and held her hand proudly. She was just so well loved by him that the media called her Samsung Princess, even though he had 3 daughters. She was trained to be well-rounded in all aspects growing up, so she wasn't spoiled at all. Apparently, this is a thing which most of the Samsung family kids do. It's different from a lot of the other chaebol families. They're taught from day 1 to be very, very low profile. So most of BJ's classmates, they didn't even know that she was a chaebol. So she works really hard to get good grades, gets accepted into Yonsei, which is top 3 schools in Korea, Ivy League level. Then later, she gets an MBA from MIT here in the US, which is really insane. She goes back to Korea, 25 years old, got like a laundry list of degrees, and she starts working at her family business. Samsung. She starts working at her family business, Samsung. But she starts really working there. Her dad is CEO. This is daddy's little girl. What position you think she gets? First day, walking in.
Intern.
How'd you know? So daddy's like, don't tell anyone who you are. You're going to work as an intern, the lowest rank. She's going to work as the intern, lowest rank. But Samsung has a ton of divisions, and I would imagine that their most important divisions deal with the electronics, deal with manufacturing, all of that. She gets thrown in like a random ass division. Okay. She spends her 9 to 5 bowing down to managers, fetching coffee, delivering documents, and like at the printer machine. She works her ass off for 5 years like this. For 5 years, they don't know who she is. Until she was finally raised, like she went up the ranks in this division. She became one of the most capable people in the entire division. And that's when her dad was like, it is time. And he starts bringing her around to all the boardrooms. You know what that means? She's rubbing shoulders with politicians, presidents, other business owners. He brings her to all of these events. He's like holding her hand, proudly smiling at her. This is daddy's little girl. This is the apple of the eye of Samsung. Her dad is like, okay, well, now everyone knows who you are. You're a global target. So here are like 10 bodyguards. Now, one of those bodyguards, guy named Lim Woo-jae. We're going to call him Jay. Jay was 2 years older than her. And instantly, they were just clicking. So instantly, she was very intrigued by him because I guess maybe the other bodyguards were very talkative. But he was very reserved, very quiet. She liked how normal he was. She felt like it's nice to be able to talk to someone who doesn't have a motive to you over or try to take over your business. He could just listen to her talk and listen to her struggle and her pain, and she didn't feel like she couldn't trust him. On top of that, him being a bodyguard, I'm sure added a level of, I feel secure around this guy. They start bonding every day. They thought maybe it's just one-sided tension until one day BJ confesses, hey, I think I like you.
Wow.
And the bodyguard said he was terrified, legitimately terrified for his life. There is no world in South Korea where a Samsung princess marries a commoner and lives an easy, happy life. Jay felt like he's not even a regular commoner. It's not even he's like a regular 9-to-5er at Samsung. His parents run a small store. They don't make much money. He always had terrible grades growing up. His highest level of education is high school. And he couldn't even get a job after that. Because Korea is really cutthroat. Working at Samsung, people kill themselves to be able to work as like a corporate minion at Samsung. He actually got the job as a bodyguard because he had a friend who was working that job and they referred him. So it's pure chance that he was assigned to be watching over Samsung's princess that day, and they end up connecting. And now she's confessing her love for him. He might as well be signing his death warrant. So he says nothing to her. Allegedly, in fact, he says that he can't even look at her in the eye for multiple days after she confesses, hey, I think I'm kind of into you. So he just tried to act like her love confession did not happen, but she was persistent. Keep this in mind because there's theories about it later. She was like, no, I really like you. She said, I don't really care for status or money because I have it all. So since then, slowly but surely, the two talk every single day and they slowly fall in love. BJ is not some little girl in love with her head in the clouds.
Like, hee hee, I'm another baby and alright, boys.
She's not doing that. She's a ruthless businesswoman. So as she's ranking up in Samsung, her dad starts plotting. He's like rubbing his hands together.
Okay, I need to get her the perfect husband.
And her dad, the CEO, starts arranging all of these blind dates for her to see who she would pair the best with and what their business needs at this point. But BJ told him straight up, actually, Dad, I don't really think I'm going to do any of these blind dates because I'm dating my bodyguard.
Oh boy.
It has been reported by witnesses that the CEO of Samsung was so shocked he almost fainted, and he is typically pretty good at holding in his anger when there are people around because that's part of their image, but he lost his marbles. All his other kids, so he had 4 kids, right? She's got 3 siblings. His eldest son, the now current CEO of Samsung, he married the daughter of another huge conglomerate, Taesang Group. They would later divorce, but at this point they were still married. BJ's little sister married the son of the president of Dongailbo, which is the second largest newspaper in Korea. And the third daughter ended up passing away in the United States, allegedly for love and not being able to be with the one that she loves. But regardless, what the do you mean you love your bodyguard?
Daddy Lee
Was so upset. BJ didn't care. She is apparently known to have an insane grip of her emotions. She walks out of there and she calls her boyfriend Jay and she's like, Jay, baby, you need to tell your parents because I told my dad, so they'll probably find out. He told his parents and they were pissed. They're like, you're literally going to ruin our lives. But you know what? I have suspicions about that one.
Wait, they say the parents are pissed?
That is what is reported, but I don't believe it. So Chairman Lee, he's not going to let this happen. He tells BJ, yeah, well, it's either your bodyguard or billions of dollars. I'm going to get rid of your inheritance.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
And she said, that's fine. That's fine. I don't need billions of dollars. You can take away my shares. I'm still fucking killing it in this business and I'm going to keep killing it. And you would be stupid to send me to another company to be killing it. So for years, Chairman Lee, Daddy Lee is like, you know what, you want to be CEO? Like he starts bribing her with all these other positions, more inheritance, more shares, more this, more that. He kept setting her up on more blind dates. Like, listen, if you go and you still don't fall in love with someone else, maybe then we can talk. She would go and look bored and unimpressed the whole time. This went on for 4 years until finally the family had to agree to let them get married. It was a national scandal. Their marriage, the whole thing, Samsung princess marrying a commoner. Like in America, that'd be a love story, right? In Korea, it's like,
What?
So Samsung, they tried to do some damage control, PR control. And they said that, no, he's not a bodyguard. He's actually a junior level office employee that they met at a Samsung charity event.
Oh my God.
He might not be Ivy League or super rich, but he's got a big heart. They fell in love through volunteering. The whole wedding, he looked pretty miserable. Jay, the new husband, was shocked that his wife's family accepted him. And now that they did, he was over the moon. He was ready to live that high-class life. He felt like He now had a right at the table. He earned it, and he was going to be eaten good. And maybe that would have been true if he married into any other chaeboy family, but not the Samsung family. CEO Lee was like, yeah, no, you're undereducated and not good enough for my daughter. I don't think you'll ever be good enough for my daughter, but let's try to make you better. I paid for you to get into MIT, so you're going to go to MIT and get a degree. Get your undergrad degree. Now, get an education. He goes to MIT. I will say the part where he's like, you're not good enough for my daughter, that part is gross, but ultimately, this benefits Jay. It's like a privilege that he didn't have growing up. He gets to go to one of the most prestigious universities in the world and everything's paid for. And I'm sure he's living like a king.
Jay hated it. He was kind of confused. He thought being rich was doing whatever you wanted with money
and enjoying the money. But now he has to study. And he's so bad at studying. He didn't even know the basic 26 letters of the English alphabet. So he starts feeling inferior at MIT because, yeah, he didn't earn his spot. So of course he's not going to be comparing to the other students in any good way. But he was getting annoyed and frustrated. He starts breaking down, just playing video games and reading in bed. He barely studied. He would later say that he tried to exit his life twice during this time. I don't know how much of this is true because he does do a lot of shady things to try and get sympathy. So BJ sees that and she's like, hey, Dad.
My husband's gonna die, so can we bring him back to Korea?
Maybe he can learn through experience. Maybe he's not a bookworm. So she secures him a position as VP at Samsung Electromechanics Division. This is way higher than how BJ started. BJ started as an intern at some random division. For some reason, her dad agrees, but Jay it up. He's inexperienced, incapable, which again, understandable. He's being thrown into this world, but he doesn't even try. He's cocky. He felt like he deserved to be an because he's the vice president, and he would embarrass himself at meetings with his frequent mistakes, outbursts, and inability to really just like do anything. None of his subordinates even respected him because he wasn't trying. He was just kind of a buffoon. He made mistake after mistake, causing the division to lose millions. Head talent in this division, they collectively resigned, stating him and his incompetence as a manager as a big factor in their resignations. CEO Lee had to step in and ask for a lot of them to stay.
Wow.
And then one day, he had an outburst in a meeting in a boardroom where he made a very obvious mistake. And one of the subordinates, lower ranked employee, was just so fed up, he openly mocked him in front of everyone. So he storms out of there and whines to his wife and his brother-in-law, the now current CEO of Samsung. And he complained,
I'll leave if I have to, but don't insult me like this.
so they were both like,
Okay, then leave.
the only reason he was kind of okay with quitting, though, was because his wife was pregnant and gave birth to a son. So he felt like his future was secure because who knows? His son could be the future CEO of Samsung. But he was still really annoyed. He felt like the Lee family always looked down on him, and he takes that anger and frustration out on his wife.
Oh my god.
Apparently, he would start drinking, and at one point, he even put his hands on BJ while she was pregnant. She never told her family because succession and how embarrassing it would be, and never went to the police because it would be a big scandal for the company. And then in 2001, BJ was assigned to manage Sheila Hotels. Samsung owns a big branch of hotels called Sheila Hotels. And if you like Korea, you know that Sheila Hotels are like high-class hotels, right? But they weren't. They weren't back in the day. They were not. BJ takes over, and it's a failing business. She's pouring through everything, all the records, all the problems, and she finds out all the employees across the board in every division, corporate, at the hotels, management level, every single level, were just goofing around. So she fired them all. She was like, okay, then just like actually quit. Replaced them all with younger employees and gave them all incentive to want to work harder. So she's made it very clear, like if you reach target A, you're going to get A, B, C, and D. Then she went in, redid all the interiors, started marketing to a very specific customer, the high-end customer, started branding the hotel as if it's a place to have weddings. It's like high class. It became known as like, if you're someone, you're getting married at the Sheila. And that's when she's thinking, okay, the tourists that come into the Sheila Hotel to stay when they're visiting Korea, they've got some crazy money. We've got a cap right now on how much we can make at a hotel because there's only a certain number of rooms that we can sell every single night. So she starts turning her attention to Sheila duty-free shopping malls and stores because she sees the travelers are willing to spend a lot of money. She starts getting into airports. She focuses on building the Sheila duty-free shops. She went in and personally personally persuaded the president of Louis Vuitton to make Sheila Duty Free Shop the first airport duty-free store in the world to sell Louis Vuitton. I mean, this was huge. Sheila is now a big game player because of BJ. Under her management, she increased business by 650%.
Wow.
She was officially appointed the head of Sheila Hotel in Everland, which is their resort line after this. And she would become one of the very few female presidents of a huge major division in Samsung that does not relate to art, charity, and welfare. Because that's usually where they stick the woman. Like, here, go start a gallery. Her career, legendary. And that makes who more pissed? Her deadbeat husband.
Oh my God.
He was annoyed that he was a horrible VP and his wife was getting praised on a daily basis for being a girl boss. So he starts drinking nonstop, spending money, going out to party every single day, had many affairs with numerous high-profile celebrities. It said at some point, BJ realized the only thing in life that would never betray her was her career. So she decided it was time to end it. In 2007, after 8 years of being together, they separate. They're not divorced, but they separate. And then 2 years later, Jay gets caught up in one of the worst scandals to date in South Korea. Oh, I hate this guy. So in 2009, a very famous Korean actress ended her life. She left a note where she talked about how powerful elites and industry heads would essay her and basically traffic her, remember? She was in Boys Over Flowers. And she mentioned names of high-ranking Korean business and political figures, and that list included Jay.
Oh my gosh.
The month that she passed, the two spoke on the phone over 35 times. And police investigated him and stated that he wasn't linked to her death, but it was just another disgrace. Like, it's just disgusting to be on that list. So in 2014, they officially divorced. It was filed by BJ. She initiates the divorce. And because of the court filings, BJ had to let the court know the nature of their marriage. That's when everyone realized, oh my God, this is not the story of the princess and the frog. This is the story of the princess and the deadbeat toxic alpha male wannabe crybaby husband. He appealed to the court, begging them to not let them get a divorce. He said that he wanted to keep his family together. They denied that. So when that doesn't work, he sued BJ for $1 billion. He claimed also that he never wanted to marry BJ. He said Chairman Lee begged him to marry her.
Oh my God.
He continued, BJ was vulnerable and dependent on me, so I wanted to protect her. When BJ asked me to marry her, I refused because our family backgrounds were just so different. Originally, I never planned to marry her. I just wanted to quit my job. But Chairman Lee asked. He pushed us to get married. The chairman asked me to marry her and I couldn't say no because he's like a god at Samsung. And also, Jay requested to be paid for mental damages. The lawsuit lasted for 2 years. The first trial gave BJ custody of their children. And to the surprise of Jay, about 97% of BJ's assets were stocks held before the marriage, so he couldn't actually touch any of those. And she doesn't get paid a crazy salary because the Samsung family, most of their interests lie in their shares and not getting paid a salary.
Yeah.
So technically...
So he couldn't get much?
Technically, all that was on the table was about $67 million in real estate that they purchased.
67 million?
Yeah. Which is nothing considering she's worth almost $4 billion by herself. Not her family.
Right.
Herself is worth $4 billion. And unlike the US, where they split it more like 50-50, the court decided, no, the property should be divided according to each side's contribution.
And?
So he ended up walking away with like $6 million. He appealed and said, no, I want $1 billion. He was super pissed. And then also, almost immediately after their divorce, she was listed as, I think, like the second richest woman in South Korea. And I think that just really got on his nerves. Court kept rejecting his appeals. And then in 2019, something wild happened. A nurse comes out to say that Samsung's princess was a drug addict. The nurse said BJ would come in to get frequent injections of crazy anesthesia medication so that she could fall asleep. They claimed that BJ was chronically... The hospital was so shady, they would let her enter in through the back parking lot and they would purposely turn off all the CCTV cameras before she came in so that everything would be done under the table. There was no records of her coming in. The public go freaking nuts about this. She shows up and says, the allegations are false. She stated, I went to the hospital once for scar removal surgery for a burn on my left leg and for an eyelid lift. You can believe me or you don't have to believe me. That's the truth. The police investigated. And she was telling the truth.
Damn.
Yeah.
They found out that the nurse was paid by Jay's attorneys and promised crazy money once they
my
win
God,
$1 billion.
dude.
There were a group of people that took to the internet to wonder, wait a minute, maybe this is what BJ wanted from the get-go. No one thinks that BJ wanted her husband to be this batshit crazy. She probably just wanted to marry any commoner that she thought was nice, but ended up choosing the wrong one, right? They think that she had kind of planned this the whole time. So usually chaebol daughters do not rank as high up as BJ, ever. Like, this is unheard of. They usually marry a powerful man that the family wants to be connected to, and then they're usually not forced, but they typically choose or
the
somehow
man.
to be housewives or take over the charitable divisions, the philanthropy division.
And the new husband will take over, right?
Yes, or because if the new husband is also part of a conglomerate, they both can't be heads of massive divisions in case there's crossover, in case there's competition. So usually they become like housewives. So for example, a case is BJ's older brother. His wife was Im Se-ryung, I think I'm saying her name right. She was originally a wealthy family's daughter, but after marrying into Samsung, they told her, don't even finish your studies, just be a full-time mom. And then her whole family fell into financial crisis and Samsung did not even help. But BJ, for her, she married a commoner, stayed married, grew her career, ranked crazy high up to the point where when her brother went to jail for corruption for Samsung, when he was the CEO, this is really unheard of. Board members wanted her to be the temp CEO.
Dang.
Again, this is a crazy patriarchal society in South Korea. Like, they never want women to succeed. They're like, but she's got it. Like, she's got the it factor. Bye.